So for some of you, you might be okay with skipping over this next video. This is really just going to be the basics of the machine itself, basically how to thread it, how to get the bobbin set up. Basic settings like that. It's up to you if you want to skip over this. I'll give you a couple of settings that I use for my own personal machine. It might be different from machine to machine, but this is what I use just to get the look that I want whenever I'm zigzagging around any of these letters. I guess first things first, we'll probably go just with threading your bobbin. So in general, you're going to have this carriage up top here that holds your thread in general, whether you're sewing or setting up the bobbin. So you're going to put that together. It might have this little additional wheel that just kind of holds it tight inside. And then from there, you've got your bobbin. You've got these little holes on the side. All I do is I just thread to thread through one of those holes, and then you've got this post over here. There's going to be a couple of locations that I'm going to pull the thread through up here and then over. The nice thing about getting a newer machine is they've got these settings, or the steps already laid out for you here. So let's see if I can do this one-handed. There's this little arm right here that's really thin blade that the thread fits through the first time. For the first step, so there you can kind of see it just pull straight down through. So I did that in step one. Step two, I'm just going to loop it around this little nub here, and this helps feed our bobbin reel. So one loop around like it says, and then I'm going to pull it over here, and then that's whenever I just pull it through one of these holes. So I might get some slack there, but it gives me a little something to hold on to. With this machine, I actually push this over, and then you'll see that little like bobbin symbol on the screen. So it's ready to go, and then from there, all I got to do is just push the pedal and it starts threading itself. So I'm not going to do much because I don't want to waste the thread, but that's the essence of that. I pull it. I keep running this so that they're pretty thick all the way to basically near the edge of those holes. Something kind of like that, in that range, and that'll last me a good long time. So there you've got the bobbin. Once you're done with that, I just pull that little post back over, and then I'm good to go. I can just snip this. One little tip, machines generally have a little thread cutter right here on the side, so you can use that just to cut your thread whenever you're ready. And just pull it down and cut it. Being one-handed, I'm just going to use my scissors here. But so that's pretty easy. From there, I just need to unwind from that first step. In order to thread the machine, it should generally be the same steps more or less from machine to machine. You shouldn't have to worry about different steps if you don't have a Singer or whatever. I literally learned how to sew with a machine back in like 4th grade, and within minutes of I had not touched it in 15-20 years, and by the time I picked this back up and started threading it, it was just like riding a bike. So same first step, you're going to come through this little thin arm here, and then you're going to ignore this thing. This isn't going to be used. Pull it through here, come down through here. There's this slice in the machine, so that comes down through here. I'm going to loop it back up down around the bottom of this little nub there, come back up, and then this little arm, depending on whenever you roll the knob on the side over here, that's like your manual for taking the needle up and down. Once I roll that a little bit, it exposes this arm up here, and you can kind of see if I roll this, there's a little bit of an opening here, and the thread just kind of rolls down through there. So then once I pull it down through here, there then is this little arm here that the thread fits back through here. And then now you're at the point where the thread just kind of hanging down in front of the needle. These newer machines are going to have this little handy arm here. This helps you, if I can focus on it, it's kind of hard to see, but there's this little tiny arm that sticks through the hole in the needle, and that'll actually help pull the thread through that little hole in the needle. That way you don't have to worry about doing it, like actually threading it on your own. It makes it real easy. So once you do that, you're pretty much ready to go. Beyond that, you then have your bobbin case and the bobbin thread reel that I threaded before. Put this out of the way. So this is your bobbin case. You basically, it's kind of giving you direction, visual direction here. You put your bobbin in, and you basically just want it unwinding so that it rolls, the thread rolls this way, and it comes through this piece here. You kind of have to pull a little bit, and then it pops through this little holder, and then your thread will go this direction. Once your thread's hanging out, we'll take this, there's this little arm here to help you kind of hold it. You take this, and you can kind of see right up top here, you see right up top here is a little indicator of where this arm goes. So you just take this, kind of push this up in here. Get that arm up into that little void, push in to hear snap, we're good to go. And then once you close the machine back up, once everything's all threaded, you roll this arm forward and it'll pull up the thread for you, and then you just pull it out. I'll kind of demonstrate that in a minute, but that's basic of the setup. I'll get my tripod out here, and that way I can actually illustrate what I'm doing. Alright, so as I mentioned, this is two. Pull out the tripod just to be able to help illustrate this a little bit better. So I've got the thread already set up on the reel. All I got to do is come through here, this first little arm. So I take the thread, just pull it right through that thin little layer between the two metal pieces, and then from there everything else is basically handled through the front of the machine. At this point, with this machine, like I said, it already gives me directions, so I'm just pulling it down through here. Looping it back up again. Then from here I need to make sure that my arm is exposed up top. So it's coming back up top, looping around that arm there, and then I'm coming right back down through that same hole area, through this crevice here, back through that same spot. There's this little arm right here that we are then going to pull the thread through. Just pull it right through just like that. And really this should just be coming straight down then at this point. Now the bonus of, I need to pull the needle back up a little bit to be able to do this part. Just make sure it's at its height so that we can pull it through the thread, or the thread through the needle itself. This arm does come through this hole, and that's going to be impossible for me to show. It's so tiny, but the benefit here is there's this little arm. I can pull the thread across, and it just pulls the thread right through the needle. It's that simple. So don't ignore that little tool that they gave you. It's really nice. From there, just pull the thread down through the foot and back. Alright, so the next thing to do here is just thread the bobbin. So you've already, in the last couple of steps here, already threaded this actual reel. So you've got your case and your reel here. So as I mentioned in the previous video, this has got this little indicator here. So all you want to do is thread, or push this reel through so that it pulls this way, just like it's showing. So that the thread comes through here. You got to pull that through just a little bit. You should hear that little pop. And now the thread comes through here. This just gets pushed in. As I showed in a previous video, you just push this in so that that arm is up there. And then at this point, I just hold this thread I use my wheel, a manual needle wheel over on the side of the machine, and then that's going to start pulling through your bobbin thread. There we go. And then at that point you can just pull this thread from the top, and you can see it's kind of pulling that over. And then I've got both different pieces of your top thread and your bottom thread. At that point you just pull these back, and you're basically slap the machine all back together, you're ready to go. So that's that.